Hello. So, um, this video I'm gonna make is gonna be super quick, and it's gonna be about something that throughout my life, especially in my addiction, I had always asked myself, how do I change my life, right? How do I get out of this life and into a new life? One where I can maybe reach my potential, where I can be successful. Um, sorry about the background noise. I live in sober living, and these MFers like to yell a lot, and it gets on my nerves. Anyhow, patience is a virtue. But so this is for anybody that's wondering how to basically stop living from a place of your past stories. So our life is a accumulation of everything we've experienced, right? Which everything we've experienced then frames our thoughts. Our thoughts then frame our perspective, and then our perspective frames the way we show up in the world, right? So, how to essentially stop living from that place of past stories, whether that be like trauma or just like a negative cycle, negative patterns that play out over and over again. Um, so I'm just gonna read off of this. This is something that I wrote, and until I get a teleprompter thing, I don't know how to do that. Eventually, I'll figure it out. But I want to get this information out there because I do believe that it's stuff people need to hear. And I know there's a lot of people asking themselves this, right? So it says, so starting a new life, to start living a new life, I've had to stop living from a place of the stories in my past, right? All those stories, all the stories that make me me, especially the negative ones. I realized at some point that not living as the past me, the tragedies, the mistakes, the trauma, isn't not acknowledging them or any aspect of it. It's being aware of when an aspect of my past shows up through intrusive thoughts, behaviors, reactions, and making a very clear point to myself that it's a past tendency. So ideally, it all starts with, I think, being aware of your thoughts, super aware. There's a term for it, it's called metacognition. It's where you are thinking about your thinking. So you're catching your thoughts. You are like hyper vigilant about how what you're telling yourself, right? About anything. And kind of deciphering that's not in alignment with this version that I want to be. It needs to go. Like and it being aware of it is very powerful. Doesn't mean you won't have those thoughts again, but it kind of just acknowledging the thought can start the process of dismantling that story. So, um, let's see. Um, so it starts with being aware of when an aspect of my past shows up, right? I start having negative thoughts. An opportunity comes my way, and then I start having thoughts about, oh, I'm gonna fuck it up. The way that this always played out in the past is probably how it's gonna play out in with this time. Those are the thoughts, the intrusive thoughts. And I have to just make a very clear point to myself. That's just a thought. That's my default mode of all my past stories. That doesn't mean it's true. Okay? So, um, every time I do that, my past triggers and thoughts start getting less intense and less frequent. But I can't just acknowledge it. I have to, in that moment, follow up with a reframe of how to handle it better next time. So, the process of noticing my awareness about it, acknowledging it, and reframing it is like a 5-minute process that you can do. So, say I have a thought, like, I'll give you an example of one for me recently was I'm almost done with my school for MRI technician, and I never thought I would have made it this far, and I never would have thought I would have gotten A's and B's the whole time. Anyhow, so I've done really well. I'm at the end, and now I am fixing to start my externship, which is where I work at an MRI clinic, getting hands-on clinical training and doing MRIs myself. And it's part of my school, so I need so many hours to graduate. Well, when I got the job, I had to go interview for it, and when I got it, I kept telling myself, I don't think I can do this. I have to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5:30. Like, I'm 41 years old, and ashamed to say I've never been able to work 8-hour days in my life consistently. I've never been able to have stability, right? So I kept thinking to myself, like, ignoring, first of all, I'm ignoring all the facts of how good I've done in school, right? I didn't miss a single day of school. I showed up and I aced it. The last exam I got 100, perfect score. So how easy it is to forget the evidence when you're working on yourself and you start making progress, and then one of those thoughts comes in because it's your default mode, it's your old story. And I was like, I was really questioning whether I would be, what is the likelihood that I'll fuck it up, right? Because for whatever reason, in my mind, working that in one place, my association with being in a work environment for 8 hours a day, the way that my past self associated that was a negative association. So that's where my mind went. But I quickly caught it, and then I said to myself, this is just like school. This is part of my school. This is an opportunity to still learn, to do everything I can, be present, and master my skill of everything I've been learning. Master it, right? Because, like, I'm giving it my all. I've been giving it my all in this school, and this is part of it. So I had to reframe it, like, you know what? Work equals pay. When I'm done with this, I'm going to be making the most money I've ever made in my life. I've never even been able, I'm not going to be like rich, but I'm going to be making really good money. And so I need to master the skill in order to be at the top of my game, because let's be honest, I'm graduating with a lot of students. There's a lot of competition, and I want to be the best. I think in my class, this last exam, last week, I got a perfect score. I think I was the only one in my class who got a perfect score, and I studied my ass off for that. I really didn't expect to get 100 though. That was a shocker. Anywho, so anyway, the process of noticing it, I noticed the thought. I didn't give me a good feeling. I could have easily bought into that and ran with it. It could have easily ruined my day. It could have easily created a open door for anxiety to take over, you know? And instead, I recognized it. I was aware of it, and I reframed it. I kind of look at life like a game. That's one of my reframing techniques, is looking at it like a game. So this is a game. I need to win. This is part of a game that I'm not willing to lose at. There you go. That put me back in head down, grind on mode, okay? So with that 5-minute process of the awareness, acknowledgement, and reframing, is very powerful. And just the more you catch yourself, you're like, wow, that thought I just had, no matter how minuscule you think that thought is, and no matter how much you think it doesn't affect your daily life, if it's not being kind to yourself, it's affecting you. So, and then I have to give myself permission, because a lot of times it's really hard for us to reframe something in a way that's believable. So I have to give myself permission. When I recognized that I was having those thoughts about going to my externship site for this long, 8 hours for 6 months, and mind you, I'm not getting paid. This is part of my school. I was having like, about it. I had to give myself permission to that feeling, those thoughts, that negative past story that I was bringing up to my new experience. I had to give my self permission to store it where it belongs. It needs to be stored. And that way you're kind of telling yourself like it doesn't have power anymore. Like it does not have power. Yeah, it showed up. It's not a big deal. It showed up. I acknowledged it. I felt it, and I reframed it in a way that I felt comfortable, that made me have a perspective change on it, and then I give myself permission to store it, okay? So, and this is the most, after you give yourself permission to store it, and you really love yourself enough to you're like, you know what? It's done. It's in the past. Okay, perfect. It really, your eyes open to new possibilities when you start doing this, okay? All these, so many more possibilities appear when you constantly remind yourself that you have a choice now. Now it's a choice of how much power you give the negativity to the past. Negativity of my past. Like, you don't need to give, oh my gosh, these people. The negativity of your past, don't bring it, store it so that you don't keep bringing it to the present and into your future. Because at the end of the day, everything is a choice. Even if you feel like it's not, it is a choice. You have a choice to recognize it. You have a choice to watch your thoughts. You have a choice to say, oh, I want my life to go in this direction, so I need to start watching my thoughts, because my thoughts are the way that I'm showing up. That they influence everything you do in your life. And also, obstacles and challenges are going to show up. Especially if you're in recovery, like I'm in recovery. When you live almost 25 years in addiction, that doesn't go away. I've only been clean less than 2 years. It doesn't go away right away. So I have to just be real with myself. There are things that are gonna pop up, feelings are gonna pop up, triggers are gonna pop. Not triggers like I want to use, I'm done, but like triggers as in I've never learned how to act like an adult, to live like an adult. So sometimes life happens and I'm not going to handle it the best way, right? And just knowing, but now I have the power to change that. I have the power to recognize, oh, I didn't just handle that so well. I really could have walked away instead of like running my mouth and reacting to somebody. I could have walked away, right? Recognizing that is so powerful. Because they're going to show up. Things are going to show up. Be aware of them. And just to be clear, I had to remove the things that had complete control over me before I could begin to walk through life with the power to overcome challenges. So like in my addiction, when I used substances every day and I couldn't go a day without it. So those had so much control over me. I was powerless, okay? So it had me, okay? So I had to remove that in order to walk into my power. And yeah, that's it. So I hope this message, whoever this might help, if it helps one person, that is all I could ask, because I know sometimes when I was struggling, I went to YouTube for answers, and I saw a lot of celebrities. I saw a lot of people who have achieved this massive success, who didn't necessarily come from my background, but they were inspirational, but it was sometimes hard to relate. So I'm just like a normal person, well, normal now, but who really epically fucked up my life, okay? But I came back better than ever. So if this gives anybody the realization or hope or if you feel inspired now to start thinking of ways to change your identity, and the first thing you need to do is stop clinging to your past stories. People cling to their past stories because it's comfortable. What's comfortable you're not going to grow in. Okay? Anyway, that's all.